Hello and welcome to my class. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss nominal GDP and real GDP, which is known as GDP at current prices and GDP at constant prices. Besides this, we are also going to discuss GDP deflator and green GDP. Gross domestic product is the total market value of all goods and services which are produced within a country during a specific time period. And it is very important for a country to measure its GDP because it gives us an idea about the size and strength of the economy. We know that US, United States of America, is a strong country. Why? Its GDP is big. Its GDP in 2019 was 21.4 trillion US dollar. In the same way, China is also a strong country because its GDP was 14.1 trillion US dollar. Japan stands at third place in the world ranking with 5.2 trillion US dollar, and Germany stands at fourth place with 3.9 trillion US dollar. The size of the economy of India is 2.9 trillion US dollar, and India stands at fifth place in the world in terms of GDP. And if GDP of a country is constantly growing, that means the social indicators of that country is improving. The welfare of the country is improving. And the living standard of the country is also improving. Social indicators like poverty decreases with the increase in GDP, healthcare facilities also increase, literacy rate increase, employment generation also increases. That means everyone in the country becomes better off. So that is why it's very important for a country to not only measure the GDP, also to make sure that the size of the GDP constantly grows or increases. Now, how GDP is measured in India? Every country has their own organizations which collect and compile data, and then on the basis of that data they calculate GDP of their country. But all the countries of the world follow some guidelines, and those guidelines are given in the book System of National Accounts 1993, and this book was published by International Monetary Fund, that is IMF. And it was prepared by, these guidelines were prepared by the representatives of international organizations like International Monetary Fund, that is IMF, European Union, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, UNO, and IBRD, that is World Bank. And it is very important for all the nations to follow these guidelines so that a uniformity prevails across the countries in measurement of the GDP, so that comparison between the countries in terms of GDP becomes easier. In India, GDP is calculated by National Statistical Office under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. It is known as NSO, which coordinates with various federal and state government agencies and departments to collect and compile data regarding GDP. NSSO was formed in the year 2019. Earlier, this calculation was done by Central Statistics Office, that is CSO. In the year 2019, CSO and NSSO were merged, and a new organization, new department came into existence, that is National Statistics Office. In India, GDP is calculated using two methods. One is from the supply side, which is known as GVA at basic prices, that is gross value addition at basic prices. Basic prices is the gross value addition at factor cost minus production taxes and plus production subsidies. Production taxes are taxes which are independent of the amount of the production of the goods and services, like registration fee, stamp duty, etc. In the same way, production subsidies are also independent of the amount of the production of goods and services. These subsidies are like input subsidies to the farmers, or corporate subsidies to large corporations, etc. The second method which is used for calculating GDP in our country is expenditure method. According to this method, expenditure, that is private final consumption expenditure, government final consumption expenditure, gross capital formation and net exports are added up to get the data regarding GDP MP. So in India, there are four values which is given by the NSO, two each for real and nominal GDP, and higher of the two figures is taken as the correct. Now you can see in this chart there are four figures which are given. One is GDP at current market price, GDP at constant market price. We will discuss current market price and constant market price later on, but current market price means when you calculate the value of goods and services on the basis of the prices which are prevailing in the same year. On the other hand, constant market prices means when you are calculating the value of GDP of all the goods and services on the basis of the prices which were prevailing in the base year. So first two figures, that is GDP at current market price and GDP at constant market price, are from expenditure point of view. That is using these values are calculated using expenditure method, and the growth rate was 5% for GDP from expenditure method. On the other hand, GVA at current basic prices and GVA at constant basic prices are calculated on the basis of value addition done by the companies in the economy, and the growth rate of GVA was 4.9%. Since 5 is among these two values, 4.9 and 5 is the higher value, so it has been taken as the correct value of the GDP of the year. However, this data has been revised. Now this is the chart which is issued on this data has been issued by National Statistical Office on 29th May 2020. So here they have revised the value of the GDP and they have revised it down up to 4.2%. Earlier it was 5%. Now the GDP growth rate has been decreased or declined to 4.2% using both the methods, domestic, that is GVA also, and from the final expenditure method also. So the growth rate of GDP for the year 2019-20 is 4.2%. Now first method for calculation of GDP in our country is gross value addition. So gross value addition gives a picture of the state of economic activity from the producer's side or supply side. The factor cost is calculated by collecting data of net change in value for each of the following 8 sectors during a particular time period. Now what happens is that the whole economy is divided into 3 sectors, that is primary, secondary and tertiary. And now these sectors are there are subdivisions or subcategories of these 3 sectors. So first two are under primary sector, that is agriculture, forestry and fishing, and mining and quarrying are under primary sector. Manufacturing, electricity, gas and water supply and construction are secondary sector. Third is 6, 7, 8, that is trade, hotels, transport and communication, financing, insurance, real estate and business services. These comes and community and social and personal services. These are like policing and military services, so community services which are provided by the government. So these comes under service sector. Now in next chart, this chart gives information about the contribution made by each sector in the GDP of our country. The largest contributor is the service sector with 57.8%. It's given in the green color. Second contributor is the industrial sector, which stands for 28.3% of the GDP. It's given at second number in yellow color. And the contribution made by agriculture, forestry and fishing sector is 13.9% of the GDP. This sectoral division also gives you information that which sector of the economy needs stimulus for growth and how the GDP of the country can be increased. And here we can see that industrial sector is contributing only 28.3% of the GDP. That means there is a huge scope in this sector, and if some stimulus is given in this sector, then GDP can shoot. GDP of our country can increase to a large extent. This chart also gives an information about the growth of GVA and GDP at constant prices. We will discuss constant prices later. So GVA at basic prices is 4.9%, and it is advanced estimates. That means later on this data will be revised. And GDP at market price is given as 5%. In this chart it is given that how much growth is there in various sectors of the economy. Like we can see that in agriculture sector the growth is only for 2.8%. Industrial sector is also growing only for 2.5%. And in service sector there is a growth of 6.9%. So that means there is a huge contribution of service sector in the growth of the economy. However, industrial and agricultural sectors growth is very low. So that means these sectors need stimulus so that the GDP of the country can be. Now the second method of estimating GDP in our country is expenditure method, and this method GDP is calculated at market price. So the expenditure method involves summing up the domestic expenditure on final goods and services to get the value of GDP MP. So here there is an equation which is given by y is equal to c plus g plus I plus nx. So in economics Y stands for income. So here Y is national income or GDP of the country. C is consumption, that is private consumption, private final consumption expenditure. G stands for government final consumption expenditure. I is investment. So investment means capital formation. So it is gross domestic capital formation. And NX means net exports. So the GDP gives the picture from the consumer side or demand perspective. This approach offers good insight into which parts of the economy contributes most to the economy. For example, the household consumption contributes 60.2% of the economy, and due to which we are not much affected by the global slowdown. When there was a huge economic crisis, in 2008 there was a world recession. At that time also we were not affected to a large extent. It's not like we were not affected. Our economy was also hit, and our GDP came down to at that time it came down to 3.1%. The growth rate came down, but it was not negative like in most of the developed countries it was there at that time. So that is why our economy is self-reliant. So we rely on our own household consumption. That is why we were not affected. Now here it is given in the chart that demand side components as percent of the GDP. Now we can see that total consumption, that is it includes government consumption as well as private consumption. So the largest part is contributed by private consumption, that is we can see it was 60.2%. Now we know that we use factor cost and expenditure method for calculating GDP. Now these calculation which we have made are known as nominal or historical or current GDP. So nominal GDP is affected by change in both price and quantity. Now I'll see what is nominal GDP. Is also known as GDP at current prices. When the value of all goods and services produced within the domestic boundary of a country in a specific time period are measured at the prices of the current year. It is known as nominal GDP. So here, when the value of goods and services are calculated on the basis of the prices of the current year, that means prices which are prevailing in the same year, for which we are calculating the value of GDP. So the formula for nominal GDP is price of the current year, that is P1, into quantity of current year, Q1. Here I've given an example. Suppose there is an economy where only two products are produced, that is wheat and cloth. And suppose in the year 2018-19 the price of wheat was rupees 10 per kg and the quantity produced of wheat was 1000 kg. So the total value of produce in that year was 10,000 rupees. In the same way, the price of cloth was rupees 25 per meter and the quantity produced was 500 meters. That means the total value of the cloth which was produced in the year 2018-19 was 12,500. So if we add up the value of both the final goods, we will get the nominal GDP, that is 22,500 rupees. But there's some problem with the nominal GDP. And the problem is that nominal GDP may give a misleading picture of the economic performance in case the prices are rising or falling continuously. So that means if there is continuous change in the price, in that case the nominal GDP will not give the correct picture. We can look into the example also. Suppose there is an economy in which two commodities are produced, one is wheat, the other one is cloth. Now for the year 2018-19, the price of the wheat was rupees 10 and quantity produced was 1000 kg and the market value of the wheat was 10,000. In the same way, price of cloth was 25 rupees per meter and quantity was 500 meter. So the market value of the cloth was 12,500. To get the GDP of the year 2018-19, we will add both the values, that is 10,000 and 12,500, and the GDP of the country in the year 2018-19 was 22,500. Now we can look into the second part of the table for the year 2019 and 20. Suppose the prices of both the commodities increase. The price of wheat rose to rupees 20 per kg and the price of cloth rose to rupees 50 per meter. Now the value on the basis of new prices are 20,000 and 25,000. And the GDP, when we add up both the values, we'll get the nominal GDP for the year 2019-20, which is 45,000. What we see in this table is that the GDP, there is 100% increase in the GDP of the country. That means in the year 2018-19 it was 22,500, but in the year 1920 the GDP has been doubled to 45,000. But is there any change in the quantity produced between both the time periods? No, the quantity produced for wheat remains the same, that is 1000 kg for the year 2018-19 and for the year 2019-20. That means there is no change in the quantity produced of the wheat. In the same way, the quantity produced for the good cloth also remains same in both the years. That means there is no change in the quantity of the goods and services. That means when we see this table, we can see that okay, there is no change in the real products, only the prices have rose. So however, as a common man, we will not see into the pictures, into the values of various commodities. We will see only the final value of the GDP which is published by NSO, and we will find that okay, GDP is double. That means the economy is flourishing, but the increase in GDP is only due to inflation or rising prices, and the welfare of the people of the country has not been increased. There is no increase in production, and when there is no change in production and output, then there will not be any change or increase in employment also. So in that case, in this way, the nominal GDP cannot be used for comparison between two different time periods or even countries without making adjustment for inflation. To overcome this limitation, the inflation adjusted GDP is calculated, which is known as real GDP. So we'll see the definition of real GDP. So when the value of all final goods and services produced within a domestic territory in an accounting year is measured on the basis of the price of base year, it is known as real GDP. Now what is base year? Base year is a selected year, the prices of which are used to estimate the value of goods and services produced in the current year. And the formula for real GDP is price of the base year into that is P0 into quantity of current year Q1. So in that case, if we will take the price of the base year, so inflation will be adjusted and we will only get the value of the quantity of output which has been changed. So real GDP is affected only by the change in quantity. At present, year 2011-12 is taken as base year for the calculation of GDP. So suppose for the year 2018-19, we are calculating the value of the goods produced in the year 18-19 on the basis of prices which were prevailing in the year 2011-12. In the same way, for calculating the GDP of the year 2019-20, we will take the prices of the same year, that is 2011-12. So that means prices remain same. Prices, suppose there was the price of one commodity was rupees 5 in the year 2011-12. So we will calculate the value of that commodity for the year 2018-19 on the basis of rupees 5, and for 1920 also on the basis of rupees 5. That means there is no change in the price, only we will find how much quantity produced have been increased. That is why it is known as real GDP, is known as GDP at constant prices. Now we can look into this table. Suppose the GDP of the year 2018-19 was 22,500 when the price of wheat was rupees 10 and the price of cloth was rupees 25. Now in the year 2019-20, the prices of both the commodities have been doubled. That means the price of wheat rose to rupees 20 per kg and cloth rose to rupees 50 per kg. So however, the quantity produced of both the goods remains same. GDP of the country or value of both the goods have been increased, and this increase is due to the increase in price. So to adjust this increase in price, this change in price, we will use the price of the base year. Suppose the base year, we take the base year as 2018-19. So what we will do, we will take the price of the base year and we will calculate the quantity produced in the year 1920 on the basis of the price of the base year. And suppose 18-19 is the base year, in that case price of wheat was rupees 10, and when we calculate the quantity produced on the basis of a value of the quantity produced in the year 1920 on the basis of base year price, that is on the basis of rupees 10 per kg price, then we will get the value 10,000 rupees. It's the last column of the table where we can see we are taking the P0 Q1, multiplying P0 into Q1, we are taking the base year price and we are taking the current year quantity. In the same way, when we multiply 500 into 25, we will get the value 12,500. Now the real GDP for the year 2019-20 is rupees 22,500. So it is evident from the above example that the increase in GDP is due to inflation. Increase in nominal GDP is due to inflation, and it gives a false picture of the growing economy. There is no growth in real GDP, that is, there is no growth in the output, neither there is any growth in the employment. So the economy is stagnant, it's not growing. Therefore, real GDP is better than nominal GDP as it reflects the true picture of the growth of the economy. Now, what are the benefits of real GDP? So we have already discussed some benefits, so I'll read it. Therefore, real GDP is better than the nominal GDP and it reflects the true picture of the growth of the economy. Second benefit is it is useful for making comparisons in physical output of goods and services over various years. Third benefit is it is useful for comparing economic performances across the countries. Now, how can we compare real GDP and nominal GDP? Sometimes real GDP can be less than nominal GDP. That means nominal GDP, the value of nominal GDP is larger than the value of real GDP. It happens when the current year prices are more than base year price. That means when the prices are rising or there is a state of inflation, as we saw in last slide. Second situation can be when real GDP is equal to nominal GDP. It happens when there is no change in the price, that is when current year prices are equal to the base year price. That means if the price of wheat was rupees 10 in the base year, it remains same in the current year also, that is rupees 10. Sometimes real GDP can be greater than nominal GDP. It happens when there is a deflation. Deflation means when there is a fall in price in the economy. When current year prices are less than the base year price, that means the prices have been decreased from the previous year. So in that case, real GDP will be greater than nominal GDP. Finally, with the help of the nominal GDP and real GDP, we can measure rate of inflation or deflation also that has taken place over the time. This measure of rate of inflation is known as GDP deflator or price index. In statistics, we study index number where a price index measures change in prices from the base year to the current year, and GDP deflator does the same. So the formula for GDP deflator is GDP deflator is equal to nominal GDP divided by real GDP into 100. We can write nominal GDP as P1Q1 and real GDP as P0Q1. So the formula could be P1Q1 divided by P0Q1 into 100. GDP deflator for the base year is always 100. And if the GDP deflator of current year is more than 100, that means there is rise in price. If suppose the GDP deflator of current year is 110, that means there is a 10% increase in price. If the current year GDP deflator is 90, that means there is a 10% decrease in price or deflation is prevailing in the country. Now we'll discuss an example. Here we have to calculate the value of GDP deflator if nominal GDP is equal to 15,000 and real GDP is equal to 12,000. Now we know the formula for GDP deflator. It is nominal GDP divided by real GDP into 100. Now we will substitute the values of nominal GDP and real GDP in this formula. So we can write GDP deflator as is equal to 15,000 divided by 12,000 into 100. So the value of GDP deflator comes to rupees 125. That is 125. GDP deflator of the base year is 100 and the value of GDP deflator of current year is 125. So it indicates there is a change in price, that is there is a 25% rise in prices between the base year and the current year. Now GDP deflator is an adjustment factor which can be used to convert nominal GDP into real GDP. So the formula for real GDP could be nominal GDP divided by GDP deflator into 100. This formula has been derived from the formula of GDP deflator, that is nominal GDP divided by real GDP into 100. So we have derived this formula from the previous formula. So the formula for real GDP is I'll repeat once again, that is nominal GDP divided by GDP deflator or divided by price index into 100. In the same way, real GDP can also be converted into nominal GDP using the following formula. This formula has also been derived from the formula of GDP deflator. So nominal GDP is equal to real GDP into GDP deflator divided by 100. Now we will try to solve an example. If nominal GDP is given as 1200 and GDP deflator is equal to 120, then what will be the value of real GDP? So we first of all will write the formula for real GDP, that is nominal GDP divided by GDP deflator into 100. Now we will substitute the values which are given in the question. Substitute the values of nominal GDP and GDP deflator. So the real GDP is equal to 1200 divided by 120 into 100. So the value of real GDP is equal to rupees 1000. Now the difference between nominal GDP and real GDP is 200, is due to inflation or change in price and does not reflect increase in output. Now the second example is, now we have to calculate the value of nominal GDP. So if real GDP is equal to 500 and GDP deflator is equal to 125, then how to calculate nominal GDP? First of all, we have written the formula of nominal GDP. Nominal GDP is equal to real GDP into GDP deflator divided by 100. Now we will substitute the values of real GDP and GDP deflator in this formula, and it can be written as nominal GDP is equal to 500 into 125 divided by 100, and the value of nominal GDP is equal to rupees 625. Now since the price index shows inflation of 25%, because the value of GDP deflator is 125 and when we deduct the value of GDP deflator for the base year, that is 100, so we will get 25, that is 125 minus 100 is equal to 25, which reflects 25% increase in prices. So since the price index shows inflation of 25%, the nominal GDP is 25% more than real GDP. So real GDP was 500, then when we add 25% more to it, that is 125, it becomes nominal GDP. So the value of nominal GDP is rupees 625. Now we know how to calculate GDP deflator, and if we get the value of GDP deflator of various years, in that case we can calculate the inflation rate between those periods. GDP deflator gives you information about the change in prices which is happening from the base year. But if we have to calculate the inflation rate or change in prices between 2 years, then we can use the following formula. The rate of inflation is equal to GDP deflator of the current year minus GDP deflator of the past year divided by GDP deflator of the past year into 100. Suppose a current year is 2020 and past year is 2019. So we can write this formula like GDP deflator of 2020 minus GDP deflator of 2019 divided by GDP deflator 2019 into 100. So it will give the information about change in price between 2020 and 2019. Suppose there is an example, if GDP deflator of 2019 is equal to 125 and GDP deflator of 2020 is equal to 150, then what will be the rate of inflation between these 2 years? So we will use the same formula. We will write it as GDP deflator of 2020 minus GDP deflator of 2019 divided by GDP deflator of 2019 into 100. And we will substitute the values. Rate of inflation is equal to 150. 150 is the GDP deflator of 2020, and minus 125, that is GDP deflator of 2019, divided by 125 into 100, and this value comes to 20%. That means there is a 20% rise in prices from the year 2019 to 2020. So there is a 20% rise in prices between these 2 years. Now the last concept we are going to discuss is green GDP. So green GDP is a term used generally for expressing GDP after adjusting for environmental damage. Production process causes two-way harm to the environment. First is polluting the environment, air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, which reduce the welfare of the people. And second harm to the nature is depleting natural resources. What happens is when an industry produces goods and services, so it creates lot of harm to the environment. Suppose there is an industry which is producing some chemical and harmful waste they are releasing in the Ganges, water of Ganges. And in the same way, if they are releasing some harmful gases into the air, it will cause air pollution. The dirty water which was released in the Ganges, it was creating water pollution. So these are reducing the welfare of the people. We the people of the country are harmed by these things. If we are inhaling polluted air, we will suffer from several health problems. If we are drinking polluted water, then also we will suffer from several health problems, and that's why the welfare will decrease. In the same way, for production process, some natural resources are depleted, like we cut trees or we cut forests for extracting wood or for getting the land for production process. In that way, we are depleting the natural resources, like oil resources are depleting. In the same way, coal mines are also depleting. So this is the harm which is done to the environment during the process of production. So that means, however the output is increasing, the value of GDP is increasing, but there is some welfare of the people which is decreasing due to the harm to the environment. So there is a new concept of green GDP when we calculate the value of GDP after deducting the net natural consumption, which includes resource depletion, environmental degradation, and protective and restorative environmental initiatives from the traditional GDP. So if we calculate the value of GDP, either real or nominal, we will deduct the monetary value of environmental degradation, like monetary value of air pollution, monetary value of water pollution, and other harms which is being caused to the people. And we will also deduct the value of expenditure on protective and restorative actions. Protective, like when we have to protect our environment, government makes some expenditure on the protection of the environment. Or suppose the water of the Ganges is dirty due to the production process, so the government is making some expenditures on the cleaning of Ganga. So this amount which is being spent on the protection and restoration of the environment is also deducted from the traditional GDP. Then we get the value of the green GDP. So green GDP is equal to GDP minus monetary value of environmental degradation minus expenditure on protective and restorative actions. Thank you. Kindly like and subscribe for more videos.